निपुण भारत, निपुण भारत, निपुण भारत.
This is how students started creating questions and hence developing in the process. When we wanted to do this process in Tripura, I came to know that I had a lot of Bengali speaking community in Tripura. Bengali was a common language there. We had to do training there and I did not know Bengali. People from there too did not know Marathi. And they were not well tuned with Hindi as well. So a person by name Sayyad Rai of LFE Academy, who was basically from West Bengal but currently resided in Pune, became my interpreter in Tripura. Because he was to work as my interpreter, he came over to Washim to understand the process. We started showing him around about the process. We went to Chikhli Budruk school, and in that school, the teachers explained to him their process of working. They explained how the students created questions for the lessons by themselves. He saw the books of one of the students who had created some questions. He was surprised on how many questions did the students create. So he said this to me, "Sir, if the students can create so many questions, they will definitely know the answers of these questions." Yes, the students were aware of the answers. He said, "How is it possible that students can have more than 450 questions for a single lesson? In the traditional system that we are following, it is impossible that all the students will know answers to all the questions because the students have not created these questions themselves. When you create a question, you definitely will know the answer." Mr. Rai did not believe this. So he took a book of one of the students whose name was Pooja. Her speciality was that there was not a single day that passed and she had prepared all the questions throughout the day. Even at the end of the day, a lot of questions were still to be put up. Every time the day and date changed, but her questions did not. Sometimes she had 350, sometimes 450, but the lesson was still not over. So he took her book and started asking questions to Pooja. The speed at which he was asking questions, Pooja was answering at the same speed. He asked some questions, listened to the answers, and he was completely surprised. He said, "Till now, we are telling our students only to write the answers. In your teaching techniques, the students are to ask questions and they are learning with much better speed than that of our students." Listening to Syed, we realized that we work in a system where somebody has framed some questions and we are asking our students to by heart the answers. Now we are framing the questions, and because we are framing the questions, we already know the answers to the questions. We were never taught to ask questions. We were always used to think to answer questions. Because we were not taught to ask questions, there was a big problem. The curiosity that we had was completely sabotaged. Now we do not know how to ask questions. Why can't we ask questions? Because we have never been taught to do so. This is how questions were created and students started finishing lessons after the lesson. Tell me one thing, when you have more than 450 questions to the single lesson in the book, what will be remaining from that lesson that you haven't understood? The students have definitely learnt all that. How many questions are there in the exercise? In the textbook, minimum 3 to 4. And the students have come up with nearly 200 to 250 questions on that lesson. Then there is nothing remaining in the lesson. So the question arises, what should teachers be doing? Instead of teaching, the teachers should concentrate on this factor. Are all the students raising enough questions or helping each other to create more questions? All the teachers need to do is imagine this. Teaching is not a job of a teacher. So questions like these started coming up. One of the teachers asked us, all the students are asking questions that are based on greater knowledge. How will these questions help? So we challenged that teacher. You tell us what type of questions are needed to be asked. He said, the students should ask application-based questions. We agreed with the teacher and said, yes, these questions are also necessary. We will try that as well. We went to school, took some students from 5th, 6th and 7th grade and asked them NAS level questions. National Achievement Survey has some ready question papers. You put up the question papers to the 5th, 6th and 7th grade students. He asked him to study these question papers and see if you can create questions like these by your own. The students were ready and said yes, they will be able to create such questions. So the challenge was, who have the maximum number of questions? The students were challenged and they started to create questions. I would love to tell you this, and I have no ill feeling in saying so. I work in DAS as subject specialist, and we conducted a district achievement survey where we were asked to create questions. The 5th, 6th and 7th grade students had created such questions and on such a level which even we could not prepare for a district achievement survey. Now I want to ask you this. If the students of 6th, 7th grade can create questions at the NAS level, then what do you think will they do when they have to face the NAS test? How will be their performance then? Their performance will be at the top level. The problem is we do not give challenges to the students enough. We are feeding the students with spoon, and that too at our speed in our style. Now we want to stop all this, and we want to make the children to reach themselves. We have to challenge them for doing this. But while putting up challenges for our students, we have to take care of some of the things. What is it that you need to take care of? We need to have variations in challenges.